Hello again. It is Delusion Dispeller here, and I'm going to talk to you about part 3 of my religion, aka why I am what I am. All right, I need to sit up a little bit here. Okay. So while I was with my ex-husband, we had gone to an Assembly of God church, and I had good times there, and I had a really bad time before I left. Where the pastor got in my face, confronted me, said that I had done nothing but badmouth my mother-in-law, which at the time I was angry at my mother-in-law because she's very mean to my children, well, especially Carol, and mean to me. And a lot of that was fueled by her ex-husband's family telling her that I was trying to steal her house from her. We had moved in with her when her husband died, to try to comfort her. I believed God called me to kind of be there for her and be a little bit of a strength to her while she was mourning. She didn't need my help. She was very well able. She was my age now, that I'm now, 53 years old when I moved in there. And now that I'm 53, I get it why she didn't need my help. I'm very well able to handle stuff. Yeah, if somebody died, like my husband died, I'd be devastated, but I would still be able to do my housework and whatever. I looked at her as if she was like some old lady that was so desperately in need of her daughter-in-law to come move in there and take care of her and help her through this mourning time. Yeah, not even. And like I said, now I get it because I am now that 53-year-old and I can tell you I understand why we had so many problems because I was there trying to treat her like some kind of feeble old lady that couldn't do stuff for herself. And she's like, whoa, who's this whippersnapper coming in and trying to tell me, what's what for and teach me stuff. And yeah, it didn't bode well for me at all. And frankly, her Bible study was very important to her. And when my daughter would come up, my daughter was like 2. She would come up in the middle of the Bible study and make noise. She would like chase her back down the cellar. We lived in the basement. That's where my ex and I lived in her house. She would tell me to make her go back down. Make your daughter get out of here. And the ladies would be like, it's okay. She can stay. No, she's disrupting things. And, it was bad. It was very, very bad. So I wanted to get out of there. And I prayed for years to get out of there. And God just kept saying it's not the right time. Till one day he said it was. And that's when we moved. We moved to Illinois from New York. And about a year later, I think it was, I joined another Assemblies of God church. And this one was different because it's kind of a end times type church. Like they believed literally we were in the end times. We needed to start stockpiling food and stuff like that because there was that whole movement. I forget what it was called, where people thought it was the end and we had to start, gathering up medicines and gathering up food and getting extra changes of clothes because we're all going down, and we got to have this stuff. And people really believed it. I really believed it. I thought we were done for. I thought it was the end because that's what everybody around me believed. So we did that to an extent. I mean, not so much my family, but the church did that. And they also taught a very exclusive message of, if you're part of this assembly, you're the chosen ones, and there's going to be very few people left here, very few people taken from off this earth when the end times hit. And you want to make sure you're on that boat when it leaves, and I believed it. So I felt very privileged to be part of this select exclusive group. And I was going in that boat when it left. Nobody else that didn't believe with us or didn't come to our church was going there. But I was, so that's all I cared about. But it was my job to go out and evangelize. In fact, I joined Evangelism Explosion a couple different times. I believe in the Assemblies of God churches. And I still have the book somewhere, I think. It was a brown book, and it taught you step by step how to proselytize, how to convert somebody to Christianity. I was a diehard. I did really well in it. I'm a great salesperson. I just happen to have that gift. So, and I loved it. I enjoyed every minute of it. So we would go from house to house, knocking on random strangers' doors and telling them the end was coming and they needed to get saved. And some of them prayed the prayer and got saved, and others slammed the doors in our faces. And it was a lot like the Jehovah Witnesses going door to door, very similar. Sometimes we would witness at rock concerts when I was younger, when I first became a Christian. I remember witnessing at a Ozzy Osbourne concert, and what was the other one? Black Sabbath, I think, were the two concerts. I handed tracts to people and prayed with people, and yeah, those were the days. Anyways, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with telling people about God and Jesus and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just telling you that's what I did back then. So I was at this Assemblies of God church, and for whatever reason, I had a really lonely time in my life at that point. My ex-husband was never home. He was constantly helping other people, including his sister, and neglecting me very much, and sometimes the kids. Not just like, not talking about physical at this point, it was more emotional neglect. He worked a lot, he was a workaholic. When he didn't have a job lined up, he found a job. He just literally had to be working. This was his whole sense of worth, was working. It still is. He's still that way. That's all he knows. That's all he was taught in his family was, you're a good person if you work. And so I used to call him a human doing instead of a human being. So he wasn't there, and I was looking for something still to fill that void and that emptiness in my life. So naturally I would gravitate towards what felt good to me, which was religion, Christianity, beliefs. And I became very attached to the pastor's wife, and not in a weird way. So don't go there with the whole, oh, same gender thing. No, not like that. But I was very attached to her in the sense that I felt I was called to be what we called an armor bearer. I was called to stand by her side and esteem her to other people and be there if she needed anything and help her, do whatever I could to help her. Just be like her little slave girl, basically, a willing slave girl, a servant, really. And when I told her this at a women's retreat, she acted all weird about it, like uncomfortable. And that made me feel rejected and uncomfortable, which made me cling tighter. And I started writing her letters and telling her, no, I really believe God has brought us together. And I became a stalker, essentially. Not somebody that was like a mean stalker, like I wanted to harm somebody. I just became very people addicted. Hence why that red book, How to Break Your Addiction to a Person. And I was young. I was like in my, what was I, in my 20s? Yeah, 20s probably. I just really wanted her acceptance and her attention, and I wanted to give her attention. I wanted her to receive my attention. She didn't understand. She came from a family that was very, I guess, kind of conservative. Like, I don't think they were touchy-feely like my family was. And she felt really weirded out by it, and her skin was kind of crawly. And she told her husband to tell me that if I contacted her again, they were going to actually call the authorities on me. And that really bothered me. And I was like, wow, I'm just trying to be your friend. I'm just trying to be a servant of God and serve this woman. I don't understand what's wrong. I didn't understand till years later when the roles were reversed and someone put me through that. All well-meaning, very well-meaning, no sinister motives, no evil intended, no stalking type, evil stalking type stuff going on. Just really a people addiction. And all my life, when I was younger, I always had to have that one best friend, always. And then it became teachers that were my best friend, and then the priest, and then the pastor or the pastor's wife. there always had to be the one person that constantly told me how good I was and esteemed me and told everybody what a wonderful person I was, because I didn't feel wonderful inside. I felt like I wasn't anybody. In fact, my worth came from Jesus because I didn't feel worthy. In being a human being, I had to be this Christian person to be somebody. And now I had to be the pastor's wife's right-hand man and her little servant to feel like I was anybody. So when that was rejected, I felt rejected. And over time, this pastor's wife got together with some of the ladies in the church and said, hey, we need to do some praying over this girl. We need to do some deliverance. So for 6.5 hours, the lady that I was so addicted to sat there and told me how much she loved me. It's you we love. It's the demons in you we don't love that we're casting out. So just know that when I look at you, it's the demons I'm binding and rebuking. It's not you. I love you. We love you. It's not you. We love you. We love you. Just know that we love you. And now, mind you, I was already addicted to the person. So her telling me I love you, I love you, I love you, further cemented that bond to me, even though they were casting demons out of me. And yes, I believe that's real. But we won't go there right now, okay? I felt very free after this 6-hour prayer session. I seriously did. And I felt so free. I wanted to tell the world that I was a new person, that I no longer had thoughts of harming myself or other people. And I felt full of Jesus and full of love and full of good things. I wanted to tell everybody. But on the next video, I will explain why that was a very bad plan on my part. Stay tuned.